Uh, Good afternoon, my dear and fellow participants of this online training 2.0 with the title Smart Research, Leveraging AI Tools for Literature Review, Data Analysis, and Publications. Yeah, once again, welcome to the first sessions in week 2. That is how we are going to apply AI to conduct our literature review, and then also to organize our researches. Today's sessions is going to be a mind-blowing sessions because in almost all sphere of human endeavor, research is part and parcel of our life. It's either we are searching for marketing, researching for law items, or normal academia is all about research. We also research in almost, as I said earlier on, every sphere of our life. So you can see today's sessions is very, very important because for every research, literature review is the cornerstone for the success of that particular research. It's there we're going to find the research gap. It's there we're going to appreciate what our predecessors have done. So in these today's sessions, we are urging the participants to give the facilitator the listening ear, the attentions, and all the request for us to grab a lot from this experienced professional facilitator in person of Dr. Isa Saidu, who happened to come from Umar Waziri Federal University Polytechnic, Sokoto. He has been with us in the first training, and some of us that are there, they know who is he. So I believe today we are going to have a very nice sessions where we are going to be exposed to a lot of things that has to do with literature review, especially in the application of AI. So, permit me to welcome our facilitator in person of Dr. Isa Said. Sir, you're highly welcome.
Thank you very much, Director, sir. I appreciate. So can I go ahead to start?
Yes, sir. You can go ahead.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu once again. The Director, Career and Advancement Center, Government Polytechnics area, my distinguished colleagues, lovely students, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to you all. It's a pleasure joining you once again this life-changing workshop. This is the second series of our workshop, having conducted one earlier. I could remember the last one we did on introduction to research and also on data, an introduction to data as well. Last week I was with you when Dr. Yusuf was actually giving lots of ideas and knowledge about the AI itself. I would wish we continue to be a listener and a student to this humble program because I have enjoyed and gained a lot from his presentations. Be that as it may, because our director requested me to present, so I will follow the steps of my brother, Dr. Yusuf, also do the little we can, the topics I am given. Now, like what Dr. the director of the center has just said, uh, I hope my slide is in your view. I hope you can see my slides.
Yes, sir. We're seeing it. Why literature review is hard.
Sorry, that shouldn't be the first one. Now, it's on full screen, all of you. Can you see it now?
Yeah, we're seeing it. We're seeing it. I am seeing it from my own end here.
Because your mic is the only one that is on. So actually, I am to speak on AI for literature review and research organization. Like the director have just introduced, that AI has found its way in all our spheres, in our activities, in our daily or day-to-day activities, be it in law, you say market research, and in every endeavor. And we do that to enhance the quality of our lives, to also improve the decision making, and also to improve on the products we use day to day and also in other aspects. So we're going to be looking at how we can use AI in literature review and also to organize our researches. Uh, at the end of the session, it's my hope that the participants will be able to know how AI can improve their literature review work and also be able to use AI tools in finding credible academic sources and also use them efficiently. And in the same vein, I hope the participants will be able to apply AI to summarize and synthesize their researches responsibly. When I say responsibly, following the ethics of the game. And also, it's my hope that participants can be able to create and organize a literature review with an AI support. And lastly, among other things, I hope the participants can be able to recognize the ethical issues using AI for research. If you would ask me what is the most important thing, I would want the participants to pay attention is the last one, which is the ethical issues using AI for research, because that has been a complaint every year. And then people solely rely on AI. They have not been engaging themselves. They have not been involved in critical thinking and decision making. I can recall Dr. Yusuf mentioning over and over the need for HITL, which is human in the loop. You don't just take AI for granted. Your involvement is also important. We begin with the basics. Uh, Literature review generally is a systematic way of examining the scholarly sources, the journals, the books, whatever you can lay your hand in, with an aim to get and summarize the current knowledge, the theories, the methods, the research gaps, as the director has just said in introduction. To get a prior knowledge or the current knowledge on a topic you are about to commence research on. Artificial intelligence, I will not go ahead to define. I will just refer you back to Dr. Yusuf's lecture because it's all encompassing and very rich. You can be able to understand what AI is from the first lecture Dr. Yusuf has taught us. So as also not to take time in doing that. Uh, why are we trying to use AI in literature review? So I put it in a simple way to say, while literature review try to gather the knowledge about the theories, methods, the research gaps, what AI does is it fast tracks the gathering of knowledge. It's trying to make that process faster. So we look at an example, for instance, of a map of Zaria. Let's assume the man carrying the load by our right is a Kano man. I know the beef between Kano and Zaria. So the guy by the right is a Kano man carrying his load entering Zaria city. Let me put it a city so that people in Zaria will feel consider a Kato. Uh, so a Kano man entering Zaria, and he was given a map of Zaria. And in the map, he was able to see the existing routes, the landmarks, the dead ends, and he was trying to find his way to Kaduna, or to Kafanchan, or to another village. So the existing routes are actually the studies conducted, while the landmarks are the key findings. The dead ends you see on the map will serve as the gaps in research. And the traveler himself is an explorer who is a researcher. While what he is trying to do towards Kafanchan, towards Kaduna, or back to Giwa, is trying to plan another journey, which is a study. So this is a scenario, a researcher. So if you give that map to someone to translate that map to that Kano man, so the translator here is the AI. You will tell him what are the names of the existing roads, who crafted the roads, who named them, what are the landmarks. This is a hill, this is Mountain Zaria, this is a dead end because there is a hill, there is a river, and then he will try to assist the traveler in locating all these things, the existing roads, the landmarks, and the dead end. This is an example of what AI does, a researcher. Now, why is literature review hard? It's actually one of the hardest aspects of research because it's time consuming. You imagine the time it takes you to go to the library to source for books, time it takes you to research journals online, time it takes you to borrow items of research from your friends. It's also difficult to find relevant sources because there is much more information on the internet. So you need a search strategy, the knowledge of how to search before you can be able to find the relevant source that you can use or you can use in your literature. And there is also the risk of uh, missing hidden evidences or hidden informations. It's only if you search appropriately that you can be able to get an information that is fit for your literature review. And also, there is this issue of citation. Many people are not conversant with the actual way of citing. Some people are not up to date about the change of referencing style and standard. So what AI does is to cut all these things down. It will cut the time, cut the difficulty, open the hidden information to you, and also guide you to how to organize your citation, but not to make you lazier, so as not to leverage only on AI and not using any of your capability as a human being. So actually, like I said, AI uses machine intelligence to locate an information and also summarize that information for you. While yours as a researcher is to critically examine and synthesize that evidence or that summary pulled out by AI for you. So you just put it in a shoe where a scientist is using a microscope. Microscope cannot talk to tell you what you are studying, but you are going to use a microscope to study and see what is in that glass that you just placed under the microscope and tell you the result. But the microscope cannot translate what happens, rather, you do. So AI should assist your thinking, not actually replacing that you're thinking. Uh, a Chinese American or American Chinese director at Stanford University, Dr. Feifei Lei, was quoted to say artificial intelligence is not a substitute for human intelligence. It's rather a tool to amplify human creativity and ingenuity. So don't always discard your creativity and ingenuity. AI is not actually to make you lazier, but is there to actually bring out what is human. So that's why there is need for you to use AI responsibly and follow the ethics of AI. Whenever you are using AI, you try to remember this acronym every time. E there stands for evaluate. Try to evaluate any input before you put it to see if it meets the intended purpose of your needs. And also try to verify the figures, the facts, the quotes, the data using other reliable sources to ensure that there are no hallucinations or bias. Dr. Yusuf has mentioned severally that AI hallucinates. AI can give you incorrect information. AI can just assume an information and can give you. So you can verify from other sources, or you can even verify from the AI itself to get an accurate answer. We're going to see it in the subsequent slides. And then you also try to engage AI in every conversation you do with AI so as to provide critical feedback and oversight to improve the output of the AI. And then also try to revise the results so as to reflect your unique needs, your style, the tone to make sure it fits the academic write-up. Because AI output can be biased, like I said, it can hallucinate. The last thing, the you there stands for you, the researcher, because you are ultimately responsible for anything created with AI. So it's left to you to judge outcome of that. So when we talk about the literature, in terms of the context used for AI, it's either you are going to use AI for dissertation or for your thesis and the HND BSc project, which you're going to follow either narrative, theoretical, methodological, integrative review. So that type of literature review requires an in-depth, very deep review. Whereas a review article, which may follow systematic meta-analysis, open or umbrella review, is deeper than that of the ones we conduct in our thesis or dissertation. The review article is a standalone literature. Continuously, that article is alone on its own. And then we have the journal introduction, which is very brief and sort of literature review, which is thematic. If you're writing, what are you going to say that? The given aspects of water, you pick one aspect of it, and then you narrate the literature. So this can only be part of a research paper, but not a whole work. And then there are those we put in our course assessments or in our research proposals or policies. For the sake of this presentation, what I actually did is, before we go into how we use AI in our literature review, I tried to look at AI in three ways, or literature review in three ways. We have our traditional way or the manual way of doing literature review. Let's assume before the advent of AI, we go to libraries, we go to databases, we search for information, we read journals, we extract the information we want, we analyze, we try to synthesize, we make an outline, we write it up. But the process is very slow. It may take you 3, 6, or a year, but the accuracy is very high, and the risk involved there is very low. And then there is a systematic with AI. You follow the old method, but you improve with all you do there with an AI so as to speed up the time, to speed up the accuracy, and also cut the risk. And then I put the third one as one prompt AI, where you sit on your computer within 5-10 minutes, you generate the whole literature review for your thesis or dissertation, which we're going to see in the subsequent slides. You can use one prompt to generate literally your literature review for your thesis, dissertation, or for your research article within a one prompt, which is very fast. But the accuracy here is very low. And then the risk there is very high because you are cutting the time. You are not actually giving the critical aspect. We're going to see detailed explanations of each one as we move forward. So the approaches, the overview of the approaches is that the traditional or the manual method is slow, but is deep. The strength or the strength part of it is that it improves the deeper understanding and the critical thinking of the researcher towards what he is looking for. But it's very slow, and you may not be able to get some information because most information you have to pay before you access it, or your university has not updated its journals or the books, or what have you. And then the systematic literature review with AI is organized, is verifiable, and comprehensive. But the issue is whatever output you're getting, you have to verify the output. Then the last aspect, which you use one prompt to get your literature in, is only good for brainstorming and to create an outline for a literature review. Or you cannot submit the whole literature review you generated from one prompt as a final work. We're going to see subsequently. These are the approaches. What I want to say before we move on is just like when the ATMs, the POS were invented, we have not discarded our banks. The banks are continuously being used. You come to see our dads, our grandfathers, one of all of us here has one or another, a relative or a dad or an uncle that still have trust issues with ATMs, with POS. They resort to using the manual way and they continue living their life efficiently. So also apply to internet. It's just like a doctor relying on stethoscope while dropping his own way of judging or experience or diagnostic skills. So we have to resort back to the manual method to get how it's done. So when we get to systematic way, we just try to replace what we use in the manual method, we enrich it with the AI techniques. This is what I have shared in our last slide. I just picked this slide to remind us of what we presented last time. For a good literature review, you have to choose your topic, define your research questions, research for your literature, evaluate the sources, analyze and synthesize the information, create an outline, write, revise, and then edit. So in doing your research questions, simply you adopt a format. These days, we don't want to spend time in doing things. So you can use a PICO format, which stands for the population, intervention, comparison, outcome. So what you do in framing your research questions to get your topic, first of all, if you have discussed a topic with a supervisor or you have a topic in mind, I want to use this topic for the sake of this presentation because the first thing you notice when you are leaving Zaria to Kaduna, you see vendors selling stuff by the road as you leave Zaria up to Kaduna city, or you see school children, or you see adults walking. So I want to use this topic, uh, traffic air, traffic-related air pollution on Zaria Kaduna Expressway. So assuming you want to generate a research question, you just adopt this format, which is KIC. You can throw this into AI and ask AI to generate a research question for you. For instance, we use ChatGPT. Using ChatGPT, just ask ChatGPT to generate a research question in this format. For instance, we can use ChatGPT. I hope we can see. Am I on to
Mhm. When you see the interface,
the interface, right?
yeah, for the ChatGPT. Yeah.
I'm on to it.
Yes. Yeah, we're seeing it.
Now, as you can see, ChatGPT has just generated a hypo-based research question on this. In this, it can be able to assist you in knowing what is your population under study, what is your exposure, what are you trying to check, what is your control, what are you going to compare your exposure vis-a-vis your control,
Hmm.
and then what are the outcomes of your research. This is something you can do with AI, but it's still the manual way of doing it. At least you see we can cut time with this. I hope we are all together. So this
Yes.
is this is just one way of getting this thing done with your chat GPT. Uh, I'm back to slides. Now, you can refine your questions using chat GPT, discussion with your supervisor, and what have you. And then you go ahead to search for literature. We said after defining your research questions, you search for literature. And then in searching for literature, what you actually do is you first try to generate keywords from your search terms. From our topic, we generated a research question among Zaria, among residents, commuters, and roadside vendors along the Zaria-Kaduna Expressway. How does exposure to traffic-related air pollution affect ambient air pollution concentrations compared to those low traffic areas? Now, what you do is you try to extract the corresponding parts of the research question along, you put the keywords concepts there. You try to get the typo elements by your left, the part of the question in the middle, and then you try to get the keywords from each and every element of typo. So these keywords you have are what you input into your databases, whether Google Scholar, whether Google, whatever you want to use to get an information. This is how you search for literature using your keywords, which you generated from your uh, research question. And then subsequent steps, so as not to waste time with the traditional method, is after getting your literature, check the relevance and quality, which we can use AI tool like Research Rabbit to summarize the key points you generated, you organize your teams, you synthesize, you manage your references manually, and then you write your full review, arranging it in this format. You introduce, followed by themes, followed by findings, followed by gap. Then you try to check the grammar. Now, but don't you forget, in doing all that, you have to take note of the rules, like the claim. Any claim you are going to make in the literature, you have to take note of it. Because claim is one important aspect, while stance is one other important aspect. Claim is actually the statement of fact from your literature that you have got, whereas the stance is how you interpret that claim. For instance, if we try to get a claim from literature about our topic of air pollution along Zaria Kaduna Expressway, we can say particulate matter 2.5 and that of 10 concentrations along Zaria Expressway exceed national air quality standards. This is a statement of fact. While the stance is your thinking or your evaluation towards that claim. So you can give your own input into that claim, saying although particulate matter of 2.5 and 10 and high, most studies are short term, suggesting that more continuous monitoring is needed to fully understand blah blah blah. So generally, AI can summarize and organize claims, but only you as the researcher can be able to interpret and evaluate the evidence to form your stance. So, don't you think getting an information from a tool has done everything for you? You can get a claim from an AI tool, but you have to work on the stance yourself. Now, coming to the next approach, which is systematic way of doing literature review with AI. You see, everything starts with plan. Now, in plan, whatever you do, they say if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? If I'm right. So, in everything you do, you try to plan. So, to actually do when trying to use AI for research, not the other way, try to have a plan for your topic. For instance, if we are going to use AI to start generally working on literature review, the first thing we can go to do is we can use one of the search and AI tools. For instance, the chat GPT itself, because I'd like to be using one of the tools. There are lots of tools available in town. The good thing is you can pick one and study. There are those that are general purpose, like the ChatGPT, the Gemini, the Manus, and what have you. And there are those that are narrow AI, those that are peculiar to one person. But Yusuf has said a lot of natural language processing, the LLPs, and others. So now you can query the ChatGPT, ask her to get you an outline, create an outline. If you don't know how to write anything, you just go ahead, to leave the dash, or you put asterisks for, let's say, the same topic we have. Create an outline for literature review on, let's say, trap, the topic we have just written. Now, this is and actually what is hard for many students to have. Sometimes a supervisor will give you a topic to write on. In writing your literature review, sometimes students will just go and give you different studies or different stories. Or you see researchers coming up with different outlines. But if you can use AI can be able to give you an outline of whatever you need to work on as your map that you'll be writing on. You see, in this case, with one prompt, we just requested AI to give us an outline. So this is the map you are going to work on. You write a background on TRAP generally, which is traffic air related air pollution. Globally, then you come down to Nigeria or West Africa. Then the purpose of the literature review. This is just the map, which you can agree with your colleagues, with your supervisor, or with your co-authors. This is what we call the plan aspect of your literature review using AI. And then if we go back again, we see that after the plan, you get the papers. In getting the papers, what you actually do is you can use the chat GPT itself, or you can use other AI tools like the semantic scholar, the elicit, and other tools to find the papers written in that area. You just search for like traffic related air pollution and respiratory health and Nigeria using the keywords that you have created earlier on as a semantic search. Semantic search actually does is what actually semantic search does is compared to keyword search. Semantic search gets deeper into the meaning of what you have written compared to keyword search, which actually looks at the literal aspect of the keywords you have typed. So you can use elicit automatically to get the results and study the populations and methods. Then you organize the papers. After getting the papers, for instance, you get 5, 10 papers, you can use Notion AI to put or upload those papers and try to generate what methods have those 4 papers used so as to see each and every method in these 4 papers. What methodology have they used? What conclusion have they arrived at from each using a Notion AI? You just upload the papers, you chat the tool, and you tell the tool to generate what you really want to do. That is to extract the information. Or you can use other tools like the explainpaper.com, which you just insert a PDF file into that paper and you ask the tool to summarize what that paper is working on. You adjust the level of English. If you're a beginner or you're medium or you're professional in English, you just adjust. The explainpaper.com is going to extract the actual findings for what that paper is actually working on. And then the next thing is you try to analyze the papers in order to identify the trends, the methodologies, the gaps, and the findings in that paper. In doing that, you can use Notebook LM. It's one of the strong AI tools that you can use to extract this information. So also ChatGPT, Slate AI, and others. And then writing the literature review as the last thing, you can draft or structure and polish the review using any of these tools, using Notion AI, ChatGPT, Claude, and then you use Grammarly or Quillbot to check the grammar of what you have written, or the Copilot to summarize, or for in-text citation and others. Now, then lastly, what you do, and the next thing, sorry, you try to cross-check the references using Google Scholar. Whatever reference you pulled out from your AI, try to check those references in Google Scholar or Scholarly or ChatGPT. Whatever you get as a reference, don't just assume it's true. Check the URL or the DOI into another tool, another database to confirm the reality of that information. And then you can also use AI to synthesize and visualize that information. For instance, if you use Canva, you can generate a table using the same prompt we used in our traffic studies, traffic, air pollution uh, along Zaria Kaduna Expressway. You try to put 3, 4 papers into Canva. You ask Canva to develop a table. You design it in this form. You say create a table for study slash population slash pollutant slash outcome slash key finding. So all the studies carried on, all the pollution, the population studied, the pollutants, the outcome, and the key findings from the papers loaded will come out in form of table for you. And then the last thing is the prompt. One prompt, you get the complete literature review, which I critically discourage students or researchers from using because this one is a one-stop shop. You can get all you want. You get the literature. Not everyone will sit down and paraphrase, include his own thinking, will try to judge the findings. So that's why I want to run this one as an example so that it will cover the previous examples we have just passed, we have not shown, so that people can be able to see how we can use one prompt to get the complete literature review of our work. But before we go, we need to know how to talk to AI. AI, most people look at AI as a grace tool, it's a center or a magic center to my information. Get what I want without arguing, without checking. I just copy and paste into my board or into my word and so. No. First of all, you need to know how to talk to AI. I'm very glad Dr. Yusuf has stated a way of putting a prompt into an AI to get an information you want. There are different frameworks that you can apply in getting an information. It starts from crispy, from race, care, cafes, crystal, aim. But if you notice, in each of these prompts, what you do is you notice there is an aspect called context. You look at AI like a river that is surrounded by trees, surrounded by hills, an island that has lots of complex trees in it. And you are actually searching for information. So the tool, the guide, whatever you want to use to get to that information is actually what the context is. So the better the framework or the context you put in an AI, the better the quality of the output you are going to get. Now, what prompt actually is? What context is actually is in relation to prompt. It's like you asking a vague question AI related to our topic. If you ask AI to explain air pollution while trying to draft your literature review, it will give you vague answers. But if you relate that question and give it a detailed context, you will get efficient and satisfying answer. If we should ask AI to give us an information about air pollution, this is what we are going to get. It will give us a very global information, major types of air pollution, sources of air pollution, impacts of air pollution. It will go ahead to give you more and more vague information that is in form of a theory, not related to actually what you are looking for. But if you take the question from your research and then try to put it into AI using any of the frameworks that I just stated, you can be rest assured that you are going to get a complete and detailed response from AI. Let's assume this is my uh, topic. I hope we are all on the AI interface, not on the slides. Director,
Yes,
I'm on the AI,
hello.
right? The slide.
Yes,
Okay. Now, actually happens is that if we go back to the slide first before going to the AI, if you notice, you will see on this context, the first prompt I asked AI is explain air pollution. But in the second one, the good context prompt is I asked AI to give me a roadside traffic air pollution to explain. I give AI the location. I also gave AI the sources I wanted to set, and also gave AI the audience that will be reading that information I want. So if you give this is a better context, it will produce better AI results. Or you can use this format, which is map, where you show the message, the audience, the action, the purpose. You can convert this prompt into that format so as to be able to get a balanced information compared to the one you have written earlier. Convert this prompt to map format. I can ask it, then will not answer prompt. See, before the AI answers what I asked, it's trying to give me the methodology, the audience that will be reading my output, the argument I'm trying to raise, and then the purpose of my query. To review and synthesize recent studies from 2020, 2025. This is the methodology I want you to follow. And then the audience are the academic and research community, particularly interested in environmental scientists, public health researchers, policymakers, interested in air quality and this. And then the argument I'm trying to propose here is this, and also the purpose of this study. So, in general, you can improve the quality of what you want to get by improving the context of what you're looking for. Now, if you can use the same format, you can convert the previous prompt I did into this format. You will get lots of surprise if you change this. You're going to get a lot of information from it. Now, this is what I want us to use. And you can also use this prompt in your subsequent research. I want us to leverage on one prompt to create a complete literature review on the topic we have just displayed here. But if you notice, this prompt is actually carrying lots of instructions. I will write this completely to AI. I ask AI to give me a complete literature review at a go. The task I want AI to do is to generate a structured literature review. Since from here, I'm giving AI a direction because I wanted the literature review to be structured. And then the literature review is going to be on this topic. At least I'm narrowing down, not in Nigeria generally, but I'm going down to northern Nigeria, not only northern Nigeria, along Zaria Kaduna Expressway, but in Nigeria. So these are the details of the requirements I want AI to consider in drafting that literature review, which include, I want it to arrange it or to include introduction, research themes, current studies, ongoing debates, research gaps, future directions, and conclusion. These are all the guides to AI so that while trying to pull the information, it also pull all these ones and arrange them. Use 20 recent peer-reviewed sources, and I want to limit it to 2020 to 2025. I would want AI to also arrange and do a citation and enrich my findings with in-text citations using APA 7th edition, which I believe is the recent one. And then also focus on health impact, exposure, emission sources, and mitigation. Highlight methodology, debates, and research lab. So these are my requirements, my specifications, the type of literature review I wanted to file. Present the findings in an MSc slash PhD thesis format, which is fully academic tone and critic, and then emphasize Northern Nigeria so as not to go and bring something that is from the South or what have you, or similar context, or people that we share the same terrain, the same geographical, the same conditions. And then you try to organize your findings. If we are to take this prompt and then back into our AI tool, you can use ChatGPT, you can use Gemini, you can use Manus and others. So let's assume we insert this prompt into AI, which is exactly from what I copied. Then I will hit the go button. It will continue searching. You give it some minutes. It will try to find whatever you want. This is the draft, an outline of write-up completely. This is the background and significance. It will try to give you the introduction, the aim and scope of the review, the research themes I have just inquired. In organizing the literature for interrelated themes recall. These are the emission sources and pollutant characterization, current studies. You see, you can be able to see in-text citations as you move around. This is one. Continuously, You see the intake citations I requested AI to give me. And then the exposure assessment, the health impact, blah, 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 down to the research gaps that I requested AI to give me, and then the future directions, research and policy, and then conclusion. Then, if you ask AI to give you this is what it will give you. But this is where the human thinking comes in. You cannot just copy this completely and paste. You can also ask AI, use the same prompt to generate a literature review on a topic in, let's say, conflict resolution. Conflict resolution. Yeah. Now, this is the same thing. You don't have to change. You can copy that same prompt and then remove that topic I included. You can put it. And then let me use this one first before we go to this. Modify the prompt. One that fits the topic in accounting, for instance. Just the prompt. So now it's going to give us a prompt rather than the answer. So this is a prompt. The same prompt I typed for the environmental topic. Generate a structured literature review on the tax impact of tax compliance on small and medium enterprises in Nigeria. Requirements. These are the same requirements I inserted while I was trying to ask a topic on Trump. You can also generate continuously, generate on conflict resolution. This is it. You can continuously working on this. I've just had direct to asking a participant which department is she from. You can generate one from office technology. This is another one. So you can continuously ask. You can modify the requirements. And then once the prompt is okay, you can just hit OK button to go ahead and generate the literature review for you. And then continuously. Now, having said that, now if you're able to get that information from, AI, don't forget your meal plan, like we said in the previous lectures, that each and every information you get, most informations you get have to respect the rules of thumb. For instance, a paragraph in literature review respects what we call the meal plan, where you state an information, you try to state the evidence, you try analyze that evidence that is already stated there, then try to link what you have stated in the previous paragraph to the next paragraph. This is something you can use AI for directly. You just ask AI to give you a meal plan paragraph for a meal plan, generate a meal plan review on, let's say, trap, the topic we are writing on. Now, this is what it does. The main idea, the evidence, the analysis, and then the link. So these are the things you try to take note of. Whatever information you get, try to remember meal plan so as to be able to subject your findings to criticism. Try to validate what you have got from the AI, not just completely using it. Then, secondly, you check the claim, then you check the stance, and then etc. etc. Now, there are ways to improve what you get from AI. Not just that you completely rely on what AI has given you. You have to refine your questions. There are what we call pre-prompt actions and post-response actions. The pre-prompt actions, these are actions you ask AI, or these are actions you before you even actually send your prompt into AI. For instance, you refine your questions. You can ask AI, I hope all is well. Yes? Moving on to the slide. Hello?
Yes, we are seeing, sir.
It's okay. Now,
Hello.
you can refine, yeah, I am with you.
Okay.
You can refine your questions or you write or improve your question before your AI. For instance, the questions we asked AI, you can ask AI to improve your questions before it answers what you asked AI. That is one way of improving your output. Secondly, you can clarify your intent. You can ask AI, ask you questions so as to see if it understands in reality what you mean. This is another way of trying to improve the output of what you get from AI. For instance, we just asked AI a question earlier. Modify the prompt to one that fits a topic in accounting. Don't give the literature, just the prompt. You can ask AI, say, ask me questions to see if you understand my prompt. Let's say, ask me 3 questions. I will ask you. If you write 10, it will ask you 10. If you write 20, to make sure I fully understand your requirements before any further work, here are 3 clarifying questions. Do you want the literature review to focus only on banking institutions, or can it include other financial sectors in Nigeria? You see, it's asking you if this is actually what you mean. Should the review emphasize practical forensic accounting techniques, tools and methods, or regulatory and policy frameworks? So whatever actually is your intent in the question you ask is then you give it a go ahead by retyping the question or you put the number by putting the number in the button, then you press OK. So this is one way of trying to improve your output from AI. And then subsequently, you can also optimize the prompt before answering. Use the AI to generate a better version of the prompt and wait for your approval. Anything you write on AI, you can ask AI to improve on that prompt you ask AI. Prompt is generally just call to action, the directions, the guidelines, the instructions you are giving AI so as to maximize the quality of output you get from your results. So you can ask AI to improve and give you a better version of the question you're asking before you get the response. And then you can also verify the assumption before the execution. You can also request for transparency because you can ask AI to give you why it reasons, how it reasons, giving you examples. Then we have post-response actions. In post-response actions, Whatever sources you are getting from AI, you can ask AI, cite at least two independent sources and also reference them so as to back the claim it is making. You can ask to get an information or a reference from what it has said. If there is a claim, you can also ask to get two credible or more sources that disagree with what it has just been stated. And then you can ask to get an error check or to improve on the information you get. If you are into sciences, most of the times, if you put an information into AI tool, after getting the information, and you ask AI to recompute or to rerun, you will see a change in pattern of what you have just got. Or you audit the answers. You can ask AI to generate its output to test its consistency. And most importantly, the last one, which is my favorite, what you do is called cross-model verification. You have different tools out there. The most general purpose ones are the ChatGPT, the Gemini, and others. You can ask the same question on GPT and then take the response to Gemini to validate that questions you have just generated. If we are to take example, for instance, we ask AI to give us a literature review on trap. We gave one prompt question and we got an answer. So what you do is you can take this whole information from ChatGPT and then you try to validate this information from Gemini. For instance, you paste this information on Gemini and then you try to say verify the information. So this is what is called cross-model. So it's well supported. You see, this is where you try to get more information, more clarity on what it has been stated in the other model. But the issue is for someone to use one prompt full literature review, you don't capitalize on only one tool. You have to get a set of tools like the ChatGPT, the Gemini, for instance, another one like Manus. Then whatever you get, then you go back to your references. The number of references you get, you try to go to other databases to confirm if those databases list of references. Now, you see these are the list references embedded in this work. Then you try to take this one, for instance, you try to verify the presence of this in any of your database. For instance, you can use Google Scholar. Can just verify this information to see if this paper exists. Most of the times, AI hallucinates, so this paper exists. Impact of assessment of particulates. So if you are using the other method, you have to take time and verify all the sources cited in that work. Then you try to generate that of the other tool and then the third tool. You will find that some tools are more transparent compared to others. So the one that has high number of uh, references that are validated, that are true, the information there is what you give emphasis on. Then you try to justify that information, make your input, try to paraphrase the information before using it for your own way. And then the next thing is, and these are the basic things we do to verify or to improve the quality of the output we get. Now, you have to understand that copying and pasting whatever you get from AI is a sort of plagiarism. We initially said you use AI to improve your work, not to work for you. AI do not work for you. Whatever you get is your prompt. So that information, if you copy and paste, is against the rules. Many universities or institutions in Nigeria have not updated their AI policy. But if you check standard journals, they have clearly requested a scholar or a researcher to state categorically if he uses AI so as to be able to verify. Now, try to verify the sources you get. Any source also check the facts and cite the original studies. You can ask AI to tell you how it does and what is its original source. It will give you. Rewrite in your own words. Whatever you get, try to change it. Don't use it completely. And then add critical thinking. Try to interpret, evaluate, and synthesize the information yourself. And then after that, you try to use plagiarism checkers like the Turnitin, the plug scan, the Grammarly to see if there is an overlap in the write-up you did. And also try to be transparent. If you use AI in your write-up, try to use AI. Now that most institutions have not clearly explained what they use, the policy on AI, try to be transparent enough as a researcher to increase the reality of your findings to state whether you have used AI or you have not. Other tools we can leverage on is what we call the, so that before we round off our time, we have what we call explain paper.com, something I have stated earlier. Now, this is a tool you can use. Oh, sorry. And this is it. What you do is you try to write your query here. You try to write the paper you want or your research that you are interested in. For instance, you are working on biodiesel, for instance, microalgae. Now, if the paper exists, it's going to come up. Let's say from sugarcane. No? Okay. Let's take this first paper that is here. This for the conveniences. Now, this is what you try to do. You insert the paper, either you upload or you say the URL, and then you try to get an overview here. The AI will try to give you an overview or to explain what you want or to also chat with the AI so as to get what you want. You can summarize the findings. Why is this paper important? What is your critique about paper? What are the similar papers? These are things you can get from AI. You can extract information, just something similar to Notion AI. There is what we call the Notion AI. Notion AI is the same, like we said in the this in the class. Notebook app, which is an Google. Okay, Hopefully the network is not fast. Now also here, you can create, what you do here is you can be able to get 3, 4, 5 papers and you upload into Notebook LM. Notebook LM can be able to extract information. Let's take these papers. One, we can add another source. Two, add another source. You can use 5 papers at a go. Now, what Notebook LM does is you have 3 sources here. What you can ask is you can ask AI, this AI tool, summarize the findings of these 3 papers at a go, which is faster than reading each paper individually. Summarize the methodology followed, let's say, used in this process. It's not going to go outside these 3 sources. Unlike the other tools, it's only going to limit its finding on only these 3 sources and give you a summary of the extract of what methods are used in these 3 papers. So this is a tool that you can use for extraction from information from a source that you have in your research outcomes. So you have lots of AI tools. My advice is pick one and try to master that tool. Try to know the nitty-gritty of each and every tool. And then the information you have in that tool may be able to be an opener for you in another tool. Don't just jump immediately a tool is launched, except if you want to use it for another purpose, like for the data analysis that we will be doing in the next 2 days. But try to leverage on one tool, understand what it does, what are the strengths of that tool, what are the limitations of that tool? How to use that tool? Sometimes when a phone comes out, we try to move immediately to the next version, iPhone 13, iPhone 14, iPhone 16, without even properly finishing or knowing the details of the former version. Even though people will try to claim newer versions, but sometimes it's good to know each and every tool before you explore another tool. Thank you very much. I appreciate your listening and God bless you all.
Right. Mashallah. Doctor, I I know I'm overwhelmed by this insightful, educative presentation. Malaruna, please unmute everybody so that they can appreciate our facility too. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase in knowledge, as well as also provide us with all the guidance to expand the
Thank you.
horizon of knowledge. So our participants, I believe today is another uh, day that we have been exposed uh, to these AI tools, which way that they are making. Please, as we please, 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 we are sorry, please. You are making noise, please. So, uh, thank you very much, Doctor. Please let us have some few questions. If you have any question you want to ask, then please you can raise up your hands. Then we'll give you uh, the chance to ask the question. As we are asking question, please, some of us are making, please, you are allowing noise at the background. Or what we'll do is, I don't unmute everybody. Then anybody that has a question, he can raise up a hand. Then we can unmute him, ask him to ask his question. At the same
Okay,
time,
sir.
you can also chat with us.
I have a
Okay,
question. Oh.
go on. What's your question? Go on. Hello.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah. No,
Yes,
we're here.
you can.
Go straight to your question, please.
Can you hear me, sir?
We're hearing you now. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Okay. There is this question. I don't know concerning the literature. Like the presenter rightly said that when you are using AI, it can give you a false author. So when it comes to such issue, if you give AI a prompt and maybe to generate just like what he has done so far, and you decided to keep that citation to Google Scholar, and you discovered it is false, what do I do?
Thank you, Doctor.
Are you with me?
Yeah.
Okay. We said you can re-verify your information. Now, if take that statement under which AI has given you that citation, what you do is try to pick that statement, put it as a prompt, request from AI to give you if there are any relevant studies carried out on that same statement so as to be able to justify. Because maybe if you are interested in that statement, but you cannot see the citation, the reference, so you can request AI to give you a similar studies carried out on that statement or on that finding. You understand?
Okay,
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
request
Thank you.
from
Thank you.
AI to give you.
I understand.
Uh,
Thank you so
this
much.
question, Doctor. Thank you.
Yes.
Uh, this one is saying, Sila Garba is saying, please, are these tools open source or do we have to subscribe for the service?
Of the ones I use are open. That's why I encourage the participants. But at some point, if your storage is getting much more loaded, it will require you to pay a subscription. There is what is called uh, MAP, which is called Memory Research Action, and I think is the phone. What happens is most of the narrow AI, if we say narrow AI, these are AIs that we use for a particular use. Whereas the general purpose AIs, like the chat GPTs, the Geminis, the Manus, most of them are free. While others perform certain actions, if we come next 2 days, you will see a limit on the tool we are going to use for data analysis. So some of them are open, are free, while some are payable. You have to pay a fee in dollars to be able to use them monthly or quarterly or yearly. But you can ask AI itself because we're in an AI era to give you a list of AI tools that are free for use, just like the way we did now. Thank you.
Thank you, doctor. Okay, is there any other question, please?
I
All
have a
other ones
Yes,
to
question.
ask.
yes, I have a question.
Okay, one by one, please. Just 1 minute. Yes, the
Okay.
lady. Let's start with the lady.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the lecture, Sha. Very impactful and value packed. So my question is this, you said there are three types of literature review, the traditional, the systemic, and then the one prompt AI, like literature review. So the systemic, it's obvious that it is the best option to use. Yeah. But then again, does that mean we can collect, like we can generate the outlines and then individually follow each outline and ask the AI back? Is that what the systemic entails? Because since the traditional has to do with using little to no AI, and then the one prompt AI has to do with generally leaving the AI to do everything, then the systemic, if you generate the, let's say the outline, then you pick it one after the other and ask the AI back. Is that what it means? And then please briefly explain what the stance is, because I don't understand the relation between the stance and how it comes in here. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Okay.
Your question is also has an answer in it. I like the way you explained the first question. Exactly, that's what I mean. But I said initially, is for the sake of this lecture, I categorized the literature review into three: the traditional
Okay.
way, and then the systematic, and then the one prompt full AI report. So why I did that is because we don't want researchers to deviate from the traditional way of doing AI because it's always the basics. And still, we encourage researchers and students to always resort to the traditional system because if there is a fault in systematic or the one prompt AI, you can be able to rectify because you're already conversant with the traditional AI. Like you said, what I mean by systematic is immediately you generate an outline. So you can be using one tool or different tools to be able to pull out informations on the different contents of outline you generated. And secondly, your question on stance. Stance is your interpretation and stand or your idea or your thinking or your evaluation to a claim from a literature. If we say there is an increase in air pollution along Zaria Kaduna Highway, that is a claim. Now, your understanding, your input, your critical decision towards that statement is what is called a stance. So, in the last class, we explained stance in detail. Maybe you are not there. What we said is there are stance that we call hedges, and there are stance we call boosters. Hedges are what we call may, likely. When you are explaining, use the word may, likely, what have you. That stance is not trying to show your knowledge in that area. But if you are using absolutely, definitely, it is trying to show your knowledge about that thing you are talking about. I don't know if you understand.
Yes, I do.
Okay, stance is your stand and what you feel. But if you use hedges, they are saying may, likely, perhaps, possibly, might. But if you are emphasizing and showing certainty, it's showing the strength of your claim. When you say very, obviously, no doubt, in terms of your explanation of that claim, you are strong in your stance. When you use what we call counters, which shows the contrast to previous information. If it says there is an increase, you say although it may be attributed to, then you are counter taking what is said. But, however, still, yet, this is what we call counter stance. Or you reformulate, emphasize what has been stated. You say there is an increase. You say, for instance, that is, these are the four types of stances we explained, I can remember in the previous class. Probably you are not around. Thank you. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay. Hello, sir.
The last question.
The
The last one.
Hello,
You are
sir.
the last
Hello.
one.
my
Hello, sir.
question
Good
is,
evening, sir.
Go ahead. Go on.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Thank you very much for the class, Doctor. I really appreciate this depth explanation on the application of AI for literature review. My first contact with AI was actually in War College, and I discovered that most of the military trainees deploy AI in all their training exercises, which is academics in nature. And then again, one of them now spoke about human AI, that they use human AI to minimize the level of AI plagiarism. So please, I don't know how authentic and dependable is a human AI in trying to minimize the level of plagiarism, sir.
Do you hear me?
Yes, I'm with you, sir.
Yeah, we are hearing.
See, all AIs are programmed. You understand? They are programs and they are meant to serve a purpose. So, but the issue of being 100% accurate does not arise. It depends on the prompt or on the command, you understand, given to that AI to work. If it is actually commanded to work on a certain task with limited probability of getting a fault, it's going to work efficiently in obtaining that result. You set a robot or an AI to work for you in determining something that is 10 words, and there is an increase in a word that increases to 11, for instance, then the directive given to it will definitely fail because what is going to meet is not what it's directed towards. And like I just said, generally, the command or the prompt given to it will determine how efficiently it's going to deliver on the output expected from it. So it's efficient, but it depends on the user. Thank you.
Yes, sir. About the human AI, sir.
Yeah. The detectors, you mean?
Yes, sir. The human AIs, they also use human AI to a kind of paraphrase the work so as to minimize the level of AI application. So I wanted to know how dependable and authentic is the human AI? Is this something that we can also use whenever we are working?
I understand you. Sometimes someone can generate an information. Let me get what you said clear if that's what you actually mean. Sometimes you generate an information, you throw it back for it to actually humanize what you are actually saying. Is that what you
Yes, sir.
actually mean?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Still, you should understand that it's a generative issue. Is bound to
Okay.
give you hallucination. It's not going to
Oh,
be 100%. You're asking it to act like human, but it cannot. It's going to act
oh,
based on your command. So it's not going to give information as if uh, compared to the way you are going to work as a researcher to verify that information. So it's not going to be as efficient as human. Thank
oh,
you.
all right. Thank you. I appreciate, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah. Please, 1 minute. We are already
My question
gone.
is very short, sir.
Tosh, go on,
Yeah.
go on, go on.
Thank you for the presentation. It was very wonderful. Please, my question is that whenever the facilitators are speaking, they made mention of Gemini and ChatGPT, but they barely mention DeepSeek. Does this have some limitations compared to others or not? Thank you.
What
Thank you very much.
happens is
Yes,
each one
doctor.
has its own peculiarity. It's not that it has any restriction. Each and every one is designed to perform a task and is based on interest. You see, if you are more into Google stack and use of Google product. Gemini is made by Google. Same also, I think, is Notebook and others. So it's just a choice. DeepSeek is also good in performing its own queries, but it's not as useful as what I call ChatGPT and Gemini. So it's also useful, but it's just that Gemini and ChatGPT are the most frequently used AI tools. Thank you.
To buttress the point of made by the doctor, you see, it depends on the goal. That is what you want to use the tool for. These tools, as rightly captured by the doctor, are meant to uh, uh, discharge some specific tasks. For example, if you are going for images or you are going for diagrams, you can see it's very good to go and use Gemini. And in that situation, you cannot use DeepSeek because DeepSeek is not good in generating images. Now, when it goes to detailing, you want a detailed explanations. DeepSeek is very, very good. We have so many tools, as rightly said by the doctor. It is good to expose ourselves. Ask these AI tools or the ChatGPT, whichever you're conversant, to give you all these tools in relation to specific tasks. When you do that, you come across so many of these tools that can be. You can see Doctor has give us explain paper. We have the Coursera, we have Grok, we have the Copilot made by Microsoft. Also, all these ones are tools that are available, but one need to know what he or she is after. That will determine what kind of these tools he or she is going to use. Thank you very much. I believe I'll say right on. We are going to get ourselves conversant with most of these tools, and we believe that will enhance our performance and efficiency in the teaching and learning, as well as research and discharging some of our responsibility. Doctor have mentioned this AI institutional and organizational policies, and I believe Dr. Yusuf is going to discuss that issue upper week, sorry, next week, inshallah. And we are expecting the participant to come up with policy, AI policy for their various organizations, because it's going to be part of our cornerstone project, where we expect everybody to come up with a policy that he or she or the participant will now introduce to their either management or their colleagues or their partners in their organization, so that we can advance the horizons of what this AI knowledge. So what we are expecting from the participant, please let's keep in touch and apply what we have learned last week and this week. And as we go on, tomorrow we are going to release our two assignments, and in that we are going to apply most of what the doctor has introduced us to. So thank you very much, Doctor, once again for sparing your time to come and take us through this very, very important aspect of today's issue. So we hope to see you, inshallah, on Thursday by 2 to 3:30 for data analysis and the visualization of data using the AI. To my colleague participants, thank you very much for sparing your time to be with us. We hope to see you, inshallah, on Tuesday, actually on Thursday, and the next 2 days for application of AI for data analysis and visualization. Thank you very much. Malaruna, bye bye, and everybody, I wish you all the best.